I thought hustling nonstop was the way of me winning, but it actually left me more burnt out than I ever could imagine. And it took away my joy, it took away my peace, and little by little it was taking away my sanity. But on the other side of that, once I kind of realized that I was burnt out and I identified with the symptoms and figured out how to work through it, I found peace, clarity, and a business that runs with ease and less restriction. So let's talk about it. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Dope Life Podcast, the dopest podcast ever. And of course, your host, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach ever. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. And if you'd be also lovely and dope and leave us a rating and review, we'll greatly appreciate it on our road to 20K. 20K subscribers, I mean. We'll greatly appreciate it to reach out to dope individuals just like yourself. So, as always, y'all, let's lock in and let's talk about it because I think that burnout is happening with many of us. And I, like myself, have been burnt out countless times and many times without me even knowing. So, let's go ahead and let's get right into it. I thought that basically me hustling and making my business work was me working nonstop until like my body was shutting down and I didn't really recognize that my body was really going through it. I just felt very fatigued and disassociated and no longer motivated into doing the things I was so like on the grind to do. My body was giving me the symptoms, but I didn't really recognize it. I just thought that, okay, I'm just tired, but it was fatigue. I didn't feel like creating 1 ounce of content. I remember for a while, I didn't want to create a podcast episode for the longest time. I lost the drive. I lost the motivation to do even just some basic things in my life. I found that even when I went to work, I was just miserable even more. Like it's just certain things were just not clicking the way it used to. And in the end, I was far more burnt out than I even could anticipate. And what kind of led me to finally realizing that I wasn't right where I should be was the one day, it was like the end of my week where I was just kind of chilling on my couch. And I'm like, this is not what success is. This can't be it because if it's it, I can't keep going like this. This is extremely uncomfortable. This is not going to work for me. So, what I did, which is probably kind of odd for many, was I became still. I focused on keeping myself still, at least for about 30 minutes a day, just allowing myself to sit in stillness and giving myself permission to do it and not thinking about the to do list that I had written down in my book. Now, in that same book, I started writing down what success really looks like to me and becoming more clear of what it looks like for me because at the moment, I was thinking the only way for me to feel success is if I'm continuously do the hustle and the grind. But that wasn't working. So what I did was I started making those moments of stillness more of a ritual. I created a specific day for me to do absolutely nothing. And in the end, I found myself feeling so much more relaxed. I didn't know I was that exhausted the entire time. And I ain't gonna lie to you, it was very difficult because it was shutting my brain off thinking that I had to go do something, but the only thing I had to do was nothing. So if you're wondering if you are going through a season of burnout and you're not too sure, I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you'll be able to identify it. The biggest one for me was feeling guilty for resting. I felt like I always had to do something, but when I finally actually allowed myself to immerse in resting itself, like just doing nothing, I realized that I needed it more than I could ever think. Another thing is you've lost joy in some of the things that you used to find joy in, whether it's a hobby or a class or something that you used to do. Now you kind of dread doing it. Let's say you get a full 8 hours of sleep, you still wake up and you're just drained and exhausted. You have headaches, fatigue, or you dread looking at your inbox or your calendar. These are just a couple of signs that you could probably take a look at it within yourself and see if you need to pivot or adjust. So if you're feeling like you're feeling guilty for doing things like resting and taking care of yourself, because it happens because we feel that we have to just keep going, I wanted to give you a couple of affirmations that helped me get through the entire process. Rest is not for the weak, it's for the wise. Saying no is actually self-respect and self-care. You don't have to earn rest. Rest is necessary. So this week, I want you to think about something that you could do that could change and shift most for you. And if it is just something as simple as rest, take a day out of your week, just one. For me personally, it's Sunday. Take a day out of your week, even if it's just half a day, and do absolutely nothing. It could be having a slow morning if it's possible. It could be just going outside and catching like an hour of some fresh air, whatever it is. Just take a moment and allow yourself and give yourself permission, don't worry about it, to embrace a moment just for you. Maybe it's even an activity that you haven't done in a long time, or maybe it's even working through that creative block you've been having. Regardless of the fact, burnout doesn't live with you no more. Not at all. It does not live with you anymore in any way, shape, or form. And even if you feel like you're starting to get some of the symptoms, it's good for you to also be proactive and maybe you just sit a moment and be still. maybe you just schedule that in every week. I suggest it. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. And of course, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button as I hit the road for 20K on YouTube. I truly, truly appreciate you hopping on another episode of the Dope Life Podcast. And of course, I will see you next week. And as always, y'all, you know what to do. Walk with peace, walk with love.